2, 3, 4.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Liftoff and the clock is started.
Brian.
Hey, buddy. What's up, Jack? I'm still
Yeah, not much.
high off our therapy session from the sewer worker.
Yeah, I still feel weird. I feel weird about it.
But I feel positive towards you. I've got something special here for you, buddy.
What?
So I was just digging through the Obsolete Technology Room, like trying to clean up a little, just organize it a little bit. And
Thank you.
yeah, no problem. I mean, I know it means a lot to you. We're just, we're getting there. We're getting there, bud. We're getting there.
Totally.
But I found this envelope, and it was sealed. I opened it
Money?
up, and it's a DVD.
Oh.
No, it's better than money. It's a DVD of a movie by another filmmaker, not Dad. It's like, his name is Neil Breen.
Oh.
And
Not like Scorsese or somebody.
no, it's nothing. It's like a rare, like, you can't find this movie anywhere. The movie is called I Am Here ... now.
I am here now.
That's I am here ... now. That's the name of it.
I thought this guy is it worth something? Do you think it's worth something?
No, I think it's. I haven't watched it yet, but I think we should sit down and check it out and see if it's something special.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go. Okay. Wow. So, we just watched I Am Here Now.
No.
I wish I was
here.
not here now. ... now. It's not a regular ellipsis. It's 4 dots. So that's extra special.
Oh my god.
So let's talk about this movie we just saw. So
I don't think we don't need to. We can just not.
No, we definitely need to, because there's a lot to unpack there. Jack, how would you describe the plot, the premise of this movie, if you could, in a sentence?
I would say it's Neil Breen filleting himself for 90 minutes.
So Neil Breen is the actor, director,
Who plays
writer, producer,
God?
star. Yeah, so I would say it's a movie about Jesus Christ coming back as a cyborg.
As Neil Breen.
That's only... Yeah, it's not really addressed. And
you know what? I forgot he was a cyborg till the very end, and they showed it again.
yeah, that's good. That's good, like, planning, when you set something up and then it comes right back. And not even in a new or expanded way, but we just see the same exact scene twice happening backwards, almost like he reversed the film on himself.
To be fair, like that's like good filmmakers do like bookend their things with like same images, but I don't think it's usually the same exact footage.
This is exactly like 1917. Sam Mendes just used I Am Here Now as his inspiration. So basically, this guy's like an indie filmmaker.
It felt as long as the entire World War I. It felt as long.
Yeah, this movie is a brisk 90 minutes that feels like just ripping every skin cell off your body with tweezers one by one.
So bad.
And it's... So basically, Neil Breen, he's the writer, director, star. He's a Tommy Wiseau type, but he's different. He's different.
That's a nice word. That's a nice way to describe it.
Yeah, I can't tell if he's smarter or dumber. That's the thing. Because like
know.
His overall message of the movie is like a positive, like liberal, progressive message, but he delivers it so badly.
Yeah,
like worse than any film student. It's insane. So he plays a. He plays it. I don't know. He's Jesus, but he's a cyborg, and he's come back because he's disappointed in humanity.
Right.
He keeps talking about the Earth as his grand experiment and how much better all the other planets are, and he just comes back and he punishes people by making their eyes bleed.
Yeah,
that's the whole movie. And otherwise, there's a lot of scenes of him driving and looking at solar panels.
It's a lot of
there's
long tracking shots. Like the beginning was like if Roger Deakins was like, I don't know, just
Who's Roger Deakins?
the guy who works with the Coen Brothers all the time and shot 1917.
Oh.
It's like he has long, beautiful
Gotcha.
shots, so it's like almost like that.
No, it's not.
It is. It's not.
It's not.
Terrible
it's nothing
shots.
like 1917.
I'm saying it's the same idea,
It's just
but
him in
done
a car.
poorly.
It's him in a Civic, and like he's just driving. And at one point, I thought this van was going really fast and passing him, and I was like, "Oh, something crazy is going to happen." But no, we were just watching
passes
somebody
him.
change lanes.
Yeah.
Because our hero of the movie, who is God and has otherworldly powers, still needs to steal a car and clothing to get around.
Well, no, he makes this junkie and his girlfriend who shoot at him.
Okay, no woman wears a bra in this movie, and he's
Not
just
allowed.
like not allowed. It's like fucking Star Wars. There's no underwear in space, and he's just like
But
he has women falling out of their tops the entire movie, and almost every woman in this movie is a junkie whore at some point.
well, no, that was the best part. Is she's an environmental activist, and she's like, "Well, I don't have a job anymore. I guess I have to be a prostitute."
No, that's not what happens. Okay, so this
That's what
woman
happens.
isn't this. You're jumping way ahead, but
jumping way ahead.
here's the real story, which has like nothing to do with the Jesus plot line. There's a bunch of businessmen who only walk around and talk about like exactly their evil plots out loud in public, and they're like, "Boy, I sure do like taking payoffs. Now that we've got these payoffs, all of us evil bureaucrats, like they call themselves
Stop
evil."
saying what you're thinking.
Yeah, stop talking about yourself as if you're Neil Breen describing the character to the
Jesus
actor playing
Christ.
them. And the
It's so insane.
they keep saying there's like a big environmentalism bill that's gonna help the planet and cure global warming, and these lawyers and lobbyists and corporate evil guys stop it. And so this woman loses her job as a result of this bill not going through or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, that's what they said.
and so she goes into a neighborhood. He goes into a neighborhood with her baby, who she refers to exclusively as baby or my
Right.
baby. She does not name or gender the child. She's she's walking the baby with her sister, and she's like, "I have
Are they
this
sisters?
baby."
Like, do you know that they're
Yeah,
sisters?
Those are sisters.
How do you know that? Was
Because
that
they
ever
say
brought
that.
up?
That's in the opening scene. Like the slightly more attractive junkie is the sister, because she's like you're
They
my
look the
sister. You're hot. I'm hot. We're hot together.
I guess I remember that.
She says
Also, that
that's-
baby's clearly adult. Just don't have him in the shot if it's adult.
It's not even the problem. My problem was that the mother of this child, who is apparently her like sympathetic motivation, has not named her child. And like within a day of being fired, because this all seems to transpire in 24 hours, even though there's time travel. I can't even. Okay, at one point in this movie,
maybe it's like that movie The Boy where they have like a mannequin of the child. Maybe it's like not a real child.
I
she's
don't know.
She's taking care of it.
There's a bunch of doll heads in the desert. I feel like those were just leftover babies from whatever Neil Breen did to them. There's a lot of shots that are inserts of a desert and someone going, "Oh, my ear!" and then someone throws a bloody ear on the ground. Or like, "Oh, my hand!"
That was amazing. I like that part. I don't know.
Yeah, that part was very artistic.
I mean, so why does first of all, like, why does he take that junkie's shirt? He was fine.
He arrives. They do the Terminator. Okay, so he's this dude who you have to describe what he looks like, and I'm not usually judgmental about people's looks, but like he is so in love with himself, and you're staring at him for so long, and he is shirtless in the movie. And like loves to take his shirt off and loves to get naked or make other actors get naked.
So uncomfortable.
And like he looks sort of like a deflated. Who's the guy who put the gerbil up his butt?
Richard Gere?
Yeah, he looks like a deflated. He looks like Richard Gere's cousin who runs like a shoe repair store in Jersey. That's what he looks like.
Yes, that's a pretty good example of what he looks like.
But he thinks of himself as like literally God on Earth, because he comes in like the first thing in the movie is like, okay, the first thing in the movie is a screensaver that's just like weird like video images.
The first and last thing in the movie are the same screensavers.
He clearly spent $2,000 on fucking stock footage and was like, I'm gonna use he'd never, if an actor says a line and they did it okay, like no one does a good job, but if they did an okay delivery 2 times, he's like, I'm gonna use both takes back to back.
Why not use both takes? Why not use both takes?
He says the same things over and over, and the same things happen over and over, and meanwhile nothing is happening. So he arrives on Earth, there's all these crosses in the desert, and he's like very laying it on thick with this. There's an orb in the desert which comes back later inexplicably, and
no, that's when he came down from space on.
That's his vessel. Okay,
that's his vessel. Yeah.
That's his spacecraft, because he's a cyborg. He's Jesus, but he also has computer circuits coming out of his arms.
Well, at the beginning of the end, not in the middle at all.
Yeah, in the middle he's just a guy with magic powers.
Sometimes he's a caveman.
Okay, so yeah, at times he'll flash into like a caveman mask. I thought it was a zombie mask, to be honest. I thought he was a ghoul. And
I think he spent a lot of money on that mask and he just wanted to use it.
I've never seen a mask like it. It's horrifying and interesting, maybe more interesting than the movie around it.
It looked like every character in Apocalypto. So I was led to believe...
It looked like someone took a Planet of the Apes mask and threw it in a lake for 20 years and then dredged it out. And it was like... Oh, and then later in the movie, like at certain times, it's like, I don't know if it's supposed to be his true form or like, I don't know what it's supposed to be, but he just like, it just fades into him in the same place wearing the mask inexplicably.
It's happened so many fucking times.
And at one point he's just banging the more attractive junkie chick.
Right.
And
it
like,
changes too.
Again, inexplicably. And it's like unstuck in time because he just arrived. Like, did he bang her in a dream? Yeah, and it just cuts to him in this horrifying mask. And he's just like not moaning or grunting, just like laying on top of her, just gently writhing, wearing this fucking gorilla mask.
Giving little Eskimo kisses. I think it represents him as like the first man, but I don't think even that makes sense. Like, I don't know. It's his true form, so that's what God looks like? I don't understand.
He's like, I wanted us all to look like this zombie thing, and you guys have really lost your way.
That's what it is. You guys don't look like how I designed you at all. Your eyes aren't pitch black.
Sometimes I wonder how the dolphins are doing in this movie, and that's okay, because we check in with dolphins like 70 times during this movie, and it's always the same footage of like 12 dolphins swimming in a pod. And we never see the beach in this movie. We just see shots of dolphins. And he's like, some of the humans are doing okay with their environmentalism. And it cuts to like 6 consecutive minutes of a helicopter shot of solar panels and windmills. Yeah. And it was just like,
oh my God.
It just felt like he was trying so hard to get to 90 minutes. Because there's like maybe 35 minutes of content here. And it makes no sense. All of the bad guys who are... Again, politicians, businessmen, and lawyers also hang out.
Who hang out with a gang.
Right. They all hang out with a gang, a brutal, vicious gang in these slums of Vegas.
It's the slums next to the Vegas sign. It's like one broken building right next to the Vegas sign is where all this criminal activity is going down.
Could he not get permission to shoot on the street in this strip? Because there's no way to show that he's a good person, because all he's done is like make people bleed from the eyes at this point and steal their clothes. Like he steals a junkie's. Okay, that opening scene. I just want to go back for a second. So he arrives. There's a guy, again, a mediocre looking guy with a more attractive girl, which seems to be like Neil Breen's like main thing. It's like, see, no matter how mediocre I look, I can get with a much more attractive girl, and I can make her not wear a bra. And so he shows up. These people are doing heroin in the desert in the back of their van, and he shows up. He appears in all his Christly cyborg glory, and the guy's like, what the fuck? And he pulls out a gun and just starts... Oh, wait. Before that, he played Russian roulette with himself, I should say.
With a gun that it doesn't... Russian roulette. You can't... Like, there's no way to play it. It's a clip. Like, you can't spin it. There was nothing to spin on that gun.
Holy shit. I didn't put that together right. It's not a revolver.
It's not a revolver. He's just stupid. Like, it doesn't
it's just a 9mm pistol, and he's just...
Hopefully
So
out of
he's
bullets.
just like he's hoping for a 1% like bullet jam or something.
So weird.
Anyway, and then he does fire it off, and it's like the worst squib. Like it's like so fucking
bang.
fake. It's like such an added afterwards effect. So anyway, he sees Jesus, and his immediate impulse is to go, "What the fuck?" and start firing the gun at Jesus.
Yeah.
And the bullets hit him, and he's like unfazed by it and keeps walking towards him to show what a cool, badass Terminator Jesus he is. And the junkie's response to shooting Jesus and seeing Jesus continue to walk forward is, "I feel like I just died and went to heaven."
Yep. That's
Which is like not what you would say in that scenario.
I mean,
Okay,
whenever
never mind.
I'm in the desert doing heroin and Jesus approaches me, I mean, my first reaction would also be to shoot at him because I'm afraid he's going to take my heroin.
Well, I just feel like why is their assumption that they've both died and gone to heaven? First of all,
I mean,
but the way he said it was like he just saw a girl with big tits in a bikini in like a 90s sex comedy.
I don't.
He's like, "I just died and went to heaven."
Wow.
Because I feel like if you saw a bleeding crazy person in the desert, you'd be like, "I feel like I just died and went to hell." But I feel like that would be insulting to Neil Breen. So he needs everyone to know that the sight of him is heavenly. He's like anyone seeing me wouldn't think I was a devil. They'd think, "Wow,
is Neil
who's that
Breen,
cool stud?"
Is he rich? Is he a rich person? Does he have a lot of money?
There is no indication from this movie that he has any money at
Right.
all.
It clearly, I don't think he has any money. You know what I would like to see is if Cutthroat Island and this movie switched budgets. I think that would be interesting. Like that would be a good movie.
I will say I've from what I understand, his later movies do seem a bit better in terms of,
But I mean,
not good, but like better.
In
terms
I guess,
of like they feel like a movie more than this did. This felt like this felt like watching the Guns N' Roses November Rain music video for 90 minutes.
The first draft
and
of
there's
the
no
November Rain music video.
Yeah, there's no music, and it's Neil Breen instead of any members of the band.
Is he doing a bit? Because a lot of it came off.
I thought
comically.
that, but I think he's actually sincere. If he's doing a bit, he's doing the greatest, most
Right.
Andy Kaufman.
There's no way
Tim
he's
and Eric.
Right. There's no way he's smart enough to do something like that. Is that what you think?
Based on what I have seen of the clips of his other movies, he's sincere. I think he's like a Tommy Wiseau type, and I think like because his movies slowly seem to improve after this,
He's learning.
like from. Yeah, it's learning. The cyborg
It's
Christ is learning.
learning. It's becoming
And the title of the movie is again, "I am here." ...
now.
Now.
4 dots.
Which feels like a threat.
First of
It
all,
feels
4
like-
dots instead of 3 dots is just like
Yeah.
you're so full of yourself if you're using 4 dots. It's not.
He has stigmata. That can't because everyone's
Do you think that's what it
bleeding
is?
from the eyes.
No, that's what it is. It's a stigmata. There's 4.
He had stigmata throughout the movie.
No, but that's
He
what the
kept
4
giving-
dots represent. Is like the holes in his hand and his feet. He's a
shit.
genius.
Well, he forgot the one. He forgot like an upward slash for
no,
the thing in the rib. He's a genius. He's a genius. Yeah, there's no doubt he's a genius.
I do.
But yeah.
It is funny that it takes place all in Vegas, and you only see the Vegas sign, and not all of.
It made me want to watch Paul Blart too, so I could actually see Vegas. That's how bad this movie is.
Oh my god!
This like, so he meets a guy in a wheelchair who is just like, okay, first of all, his house just fell down or something.
No,
or
see,
he lives in a broken house.
He lives in
and
the
so
same broken down place where all those gangs were. Like it's the same thing.
So
it's the same set.
There's this footage of him pulling himself out of this house. He just wakes up at a broken house.
Oh
He's
my
in a
God.
wheelchair. And he pulls himself out of the wheelchair and he goes to, I don't know even what he's going to. People are waiting in line. And it's the worst stunt in movie history. It's this guy who like fakes walking into his wheelchair and he tosses the guy in the wheelchair on the ground. And like Neil Breen
fuck
shows
out of
up
my
and he's
way,
like, no,
wheelchair
that's
boy."
just not right. And he like makes him bleed from the eyes or whatever. And then he basically becomes Slippin' Jimmy from Better Call Saul, and he makes a deal with the guy in the wheelchair to bait out gang members. So he just hangs out with the wheelchair guy and waits for people to beat him up.
Well, so the wheelchair guy, because cancer is killing him, which he says in a voiceover.
Well, yeah, and the treatment isn't working.
But his dream is to to see the Hollywood sign, which is like right across from his broken down house.
No, not the Hollywood sign. That would be nice.
Not the Hollywood sign, the
Las
Vegas sign. Yeah.
So yeah,
that's his dream though. It's not that.
The craziest thing is like the Vegas sign is iconic.
Yeah.
But not in the way they play, because like the way it's iconic is you drive in and see the sign.
Right.
We sort of get that shot early on, but not at night, not with the lights lit up. It's like everything takes place at like 4 p.m.
Right. Well, that's where they can get everybody together, I imagine.
Everyone else has
everybody has a
at
day
their
job.
actual crack hooker jobs.
Yeah.
And so he's just like, they all just walk up to the Vegas sign and they're like standing next to it. And it's just not that impressive in the way
But it was
they're
the wheelchair
displaying it.
guy's dream to see it. That was his dream.
I guess, even though he lives down the
He
block.
lives right across from it.
It's hard to cross the traffic, I guess. So he needed to wait for Jesus' help. And of course, his plot line gets resolved later in the movie when he is turned into a completely different person.
Right, turned into a different person, and I think
he's supposed to be like him as a young man, but they look nothing alike, and it's just a different actor
in the same clothes.
The girl with the baby, he's like, Neil Breen appears next to him. He's like, go to her. He like meets her once. They didn't have any relationship.
Yeah.
He's just like, go to her, and she's like, okay, you're my husband now.
She's
and they
got
start
a baby.
walking together.
Maybe the baby belongs to her husband.
She's just seen him as an old man. Yeah, but the baby's like just a doll. She doesn't have a name for it. She's crazy.
I'm just saying that young man in a wheelchair could do better. He's got his whole life back together. Why not live a little? Like, why
Get
not?
out of Vegas, man.
You gotta live
Get
here.
out of Neil Breen's movies. And I mean, I still can't stress enough that her sister is the one that immediately is like, you lost your job as an environmentalist?
Oh my God.
Well, then you should become a
Be a
crack whore.
prostitute. Just be a crack whore.
It doesn't even like, there's not even the scene in some movies where it's like, we'll talk to my friend Tony. He's a little bit sketch, but like, he's okay. And they meet a guy who's like a little bit sketch, but he's mostly all right.
Yeah.
And then later we find out Tony works for the really bad guys. She just immediately takes her sister, who's like this nice, sweet girl who has a fake baby, to go to the worst gang members in the world, who are like not even a good gang because they kill each other constantly.
Yeah, there's a lot of
like,
infighting in that gang.
yeah, he's like, she shows up and she's like immediately pegged for a prostitute, and they're like, I want it first. No,
God,
I do.
Jesus
and the one guy
Christ.
just shoots the other guy in the face. And then later they're like, our gang's all about family.
Then
And
they
it's like,
said,
when was that?
also they said they were worldwide at some point, which I find very funny.
Yes, that was the best. They are a
We're
worldwide
worldwide now,
local crack
baby.
gang.
We're worldwide.
Because there's one dude in
We
the
live in
gang
trash,
who's
but
like
we're worldwide.
a European dude who looks like Data, the guy who played Data in Star Trek, but when he's in Independence Day and he's like in Area 51,
Yeah.
it's like long hair and the beard and just he's got like, and like there's this weird scene where he's like the things are getting really violent in the gang and everyone's like, this is too much for me, man, and the European guy is just like, I like it. It's just like, what? Who is this kid? What are we supposed to get out of that?
He likes it.
Let's not forget maybe the best scene in the movie, which is when one of the hotshot businessmen, because there's only like 10 people in Vegas.
Sure.
He finishes his deal. It's like the same day that they finish the deal and he's
Right.
going to celebrate, but somehow it's also like 6 months into the timeline of the girl being a whore.
Right.
She's like totally ready for it. And so he invites her and her sister as
To have a
prostitutes
real
to his pool party.
Sexy pool party.
Right. And like this should be like the most sinister and lascivious scene in the movie, but somehow it's like the least. Like the ones where Neil Breen is having sex in what
So
is like a
uncomfortable.
boring, vanilla, very Jack-like way, in my opinion.
Okay, well, how would you know? So
Yeah, well, let's not go there. Just don't worry about it, what I know and don't know, or what I've heard.
Cool.
The point is that Neil Breen is more terrifying, and especially when he's shirtless and walking backwards out the door staring at her, which happens a lot, than this like evil businessman character who basically invites these girls over to his pool, and they're in their bikinis and they take their tops off, but they're constantly covering their boobs.
Constantly covering their boobs and giggling. Like, I don't know, like,
It's
are
so
they
weird.
kink shaming him? Is that like what gets him off? Is
I
to
don't
like
know.
giggle?
And he sits there for like 45 minutes watching
Yeah.
them, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Mm,
Oh yeah.
double the pleasure.
There's a lot of
fun."
doublemint gum references.
Right, because they keep reiterating that these girls are twins, even though it's irrelevant that they're twins.
And they're not.
Because they're fraternal twins if they are twins, because they
Right.
look nothing alike.
Nothing alike.
Besides just both being blonde, and so it's like they could just be sisters, like, or they could just be friends, because them being sisters doesn't really work.
I
either.
was
So,
certain at that point though that this movie was turned into pornography, and then
Right, I thought for
did
sure.
not.
And instead of doing anything sexual, they just play on pool floaties for like 45 minutes, and they like struggle to get on them, and it's just like really awkward. And he just sits there watching them while they do like stuff that like
Yeah.
is non-sexual.
This is the
or, like-
life of a high-powered businessman.
and then he like pours them champagne, and I'm like, okay, now they're like gonna go down on him or something like gross is gonna happen, and he's just like, my oh my, and then it's like we watched that scene for 15
He just
minutes.
likes to watch. He likes to watch and look at girls. And it's a power thing, I think, is what gets him off. It's a power.
So at some point we start traveling back in time so Neil Breen's Jesus character can start undoing the past mistakes of humanity, which
do?
all boil down to, he keeps going back in time because at some point he goes back in time to the girl that he sleeps with, who is the junkie sister.
To be fair, she's a junkie too. They're both junkies.
Right, but I
And they
don't know how to
weren't
distinguish them
they
as
both
characters
environmental
otherwise.
activists too? Like I thought her sister had the same job as her.
Right, they did, but that's right. He goes back in time to a time when the sister was also an environmental activist. I'm not joking.
I know.
Because then it's her. We see them. They're like, wow, we're both low on money now that the environmentalism is stopped.
gotta be a
And it's like the same
prostitute.
plot line again. And then her boyfriend at the time is like, I know, I'll just become a car dealer and not tell her.
Oh,
and so
God,
he
I
gets
forgot
killed
about
by the
that.
gang,
Yeah.
brutally slashed his throat.
No, to be fair, he said he's going to be a car thief, and then he just goes and takes stuff out of cars. Like he's not he's a very low rent thief.
Yeah, that's true. It's more like a B&E for cars. It's not. He's not really selling
I
cars.
forgot.
And his business model is he's going to go into the town. He's going to go into the area of the toughest gang in town. Where granted, cars would not be that. There wouldn't be that much good stuff in them anyway. And and he immediately stands up to them, and is like, they're like, you should join our gang. And he's like, the only problem is you're doing it on our turf. And he's like, you should be like, okay.
Change and boxes out of cars on our turf. We're
And
not
so
a
they just
worldwide
slash his
gang
throat.
because of we haven't been stealing change out of
We're a
cars.
worldwide gang. We know a guy from Europe. So I guess what would happen in the real timeline is that the sister loses her job, her boyfriend dies, she becomes a junkie prostitute.
Right.
Then her sister also loses her job. It doesn't really check out in the timeline unless there's two bills or whatever,
Right.
Environmental bills. And so then they both become junkies, and then Neil Breen is slowly undoing all these past mistakes. So the good people, like the wheelchair guy, and the sisters can live a good life. And then, like, the end of the movie is the sister who he's been banging in her dreams.
Yeah.
She keeps being like, I think I know
I
him. But again, it's
remember you
unclear.
from
Yeah, I
somewhere.
remember you. And she, like, sees him in the desert, and he turns back into an ape monkey, and she just stares lovingly at him. And then we see all the bad people on crucifixes, but they aren't nailed. They're just, like, holding on to him.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're bad, but they're not crucified bad. I guess.
Oh, how about when the sisters are initially walking, and it seemed like such a perfect bad movie thing where that guy is riding by on his bicycle.
Oh, God,
and he's
so
like,
good.
wow, and then
Wow.
falls over again, a terrible stunt, only beat by the wheelchair thing. And like then they cut to him on the ground as they leave, and they're like, hee hee, and he's like, wow.
He says it again. 2 lines. 2 of the same line.
They do the same line every take. Every take. They do not miss a take.
I've never
And of
seen
course,
2 prostitutes with a baby before.
Wow.
Wow.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas? Holy cow.
2 women walking a baby down the street is the most lascivious thing I've ever
In
seen.
Vegas, where I live. Oh, sorry. I mean the outskirts of Vegas because, yeah.
And like I've noticed also that he just keeps using the same sound effect over and over for different things.
Yeah.
Like who does that? Oh shit! It's the rat again.
Jesus
fuck,
Christ.
it's the rat. I
is it
hate that
doing?
rat. It's got that hiss.
It comes out of
Anyway,
nowhere. Like, it
unreal-
knows we're doing something that like likes to
I
startle
know.
us.
It's weird. But anyway, anyone who uses the same sound effect over and over for something is really fucking
They
lazy.
have to be hacks or something.
They are hacks. So
Hey,
the
is that
orb
Dad's old
comes
guitar?
back. Oh yeah, Dad's old guitar. I love this thing.
Wow.
So the orb is back, and like the point of the movie, I think, is what makes it frustrating. Is that like this is what conservatives think liberals are like.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like-
this is like this is how they all talk. This is how all liberals think.
Right. It's like if he's the worst vessel for this message, other than the orb, I guess. And yeah, I mean, the movie ends with again the same screensaver. He shows the same exact footage of solar arrays again, and then
That goes on for so
It goes on
long.
for
The last
so
30
long.
minutes is so long. It's just as long. I mean, to be fair, it's like it's 60 minutes of the same footage and then like a bunch of other random footage in between.
Did you
So
get
it's like-
that? Did you get that? It felt kind of like he was trying to insert himself into the Sodom and Gomorrah story. Like that was.
Maybe, I don't
was like
know.
he was trying to do a Sodom and Gomorrah, but of
But what part? What do you mean?
like
just like
the
in
part
general?
of the story where he's like, I'll destroy humanity unless, God says, I'll destroy humanity unless you can find like 20 good people. All right, fine, 10 good people. And like
One wheelchair guy and one environmental prostitute.
right, exactly. And well, it just felt like, oh, it's a city of sin, and God is coming to punish them because this
Yeah.
is not how he perceived it, and he has to find the good people, and the good people in the end give him hope. He's like, even though he basically makes no changes and no journey besides
Right.
like erasing time, like he doesn't really teach anyone lessons. He just gives them
No.
free stuff, and like
It's sort of like if like God got hit on the head really hard and then tried to fix something.
If God was a character in the Flintstones and opened Fred Flintstone's closet and the bowling ball fell out and hit him in the head and he got amnesia, he's like, hey, I'm
Yeah.
Johnny God. That's what
I gotta
yeah.
fix stuff on Earth. That's what I remember. He's had one too many concussions, and he's just like,
I also love the lore building in the first couple minutes where he's just like, all of the other galaxies I made are doing way better. I'm like, let's see that. Let's see.
Yeah,
I'm
show
sure
that.
if that was that,
You
it would just be
greedy
like
piece of
Valerian
shit.
or some shit. But yeah, I thought it was great because at the end it seemed like he was about to deliver his hopeful message, where he's like,
No.
things have really.
turns back into caveman. And
But
leaves.
he's like, some people have done okay, but if they don't, I will destroy this planet. I will destroy it. It's just like, is that what you want? Is that the soothing message for the ending of your movie coming from God's lips to your ears? But
did he not kill him because he fell in love with an Earth woman?
I don't know.
understand.
Right? And it doesn't even feel
really
like
make
love. It just felt like he's been watching her and he banged her. And he wanted
Right,
to get
because he's
shirtless.
God. He probably froze her like he froze all those
Yeah.
other people. and just-
Oh my God! When he freezes the junkies in the beginning, and it's literally that theater trick where they just both stop and they're like wobbling.
Yeah.
I was like, "You've got to be fucking."
So-
you could have.
See, that's where it's like,
You could
it
have.
seems like a bit.
I know, right? And it's like you could have just stopped the frame. Like I don't know why you could have just made a still image of that shot. Like why is that?
Nope.
And I thought the part that felt the most like a bit to me was when he at one point he in the desert he falls on his knees and literally like addresses the camera and he's like, respect yourselves. And I was
Yeah.
just like, respect yourself, Neil Breen. What are you doing to us? Like
It's just, I don't know.
well, yeah. So that's I am here now.
I am here now.
Okay, so
Gotta pause.
that I can see why Dad didn't open that. Maybe Neil Breen was a fan of his movies that he's made. I guess.
Do you think that he saw Dad's movies? Now that's like what in because if this inspired Dad's movies inspired this, I don't know if I want to watch Dad's movie.
Well, Dad's movies have to be way better than this. I'm sure they're actually artistic and like thoughtful. Right?
It can't be
we'll
worse
watch
than
some of those
this.
at some point. No, I definitely can't. Well, all right, we should probably wrap it up. I'm sorry I got your hopes up that we found something valuable again, but
Yeah. I mean, it's still. I mean, it was better than Cutthroat Island. It was shorter than Cutthroat Island, at least. So it's
it
like,
was shorter than Cutthroat Island. I
maybe
don't
not
think,
better.
I don't know. They had the same excruciating feeling at some points, but
yeah.
this one was more consistent. All right. Well, thanks for listening, and you can find this movie I don't think you can, and that's probably for the best.
Good luck finding it. You can't.
If you found this movie, it's in some garbage dump or in
Leave
a
it
time
there.
capsule of like humanity's ills or something.
Yeah, if you
But
see Neil Breen, just punch him in his face, please.
Just punch him. I don't think we should incite violence on the. But just
maybe
spit
spit
near
on him. Just spit near him. Yeah, that works.
Put like an egg. Do that hard-boiled egg thing that the kid in Australia did to the prime minister. Just hit him on the head with an egg. I don't know, not hard-boiled. That wouldn't work.
No, soft-boiled.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. I'm tired. This movie's ruined my brain.
3, 4.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Thank you for listening to Bunker Brothers. I'm Matt Shore. I played Brian. Mike Kolar played Jack. The Rat was played by the Rat. Please subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review if you enjoyed it. We're on Twitter at brothers_bunker and on YouTube and Facebook as well. Thank you so much for listening. It means the world to us that anyone would choose to do so. Stay safe, happy, and healthy. Peace.